Photoshop comes with lots of great tools. Some tools can be just used at a basic level, but I think the clone stamp tool can be used in countless ways to create all kinds of very interesting visual designs. In this video, I'm just going to go through some of the things, and I'm going to use a picture of Big Ben or the Victoria Tower in London as an example. But of course, it could be anything. It could be text, it could be shape designs, pattern designs. Literally anything can be used as a clone source. So you can combine it, create all kinds of collages, background designs, maybe use it with noise effects, and so much more. It's a super powerful feature of Photoshop, and with the brilliant panel that I think is just a super useful tool, I think it can be used to create lots of amazing designs. So hope you find this of interest. I've got this lovely image of London, obviously Houses of Parliament, and with this I can go to image and I can go down to duplicate, and that duplicates the current image, just creates a copy. And I can do the same again, so image and duplicate, and I'm going to do it a couple of times, so image and duplicate, and click OK. So now you can see I've got in total 4 of the Houses of Parliament. Well, what I can then do is I can go over here, and this is the original document I'm going to be using, and here's the clone source panel. You can find that in the window menu and clone source. And it's got a number of options along the top. And you can see you've got this. So there's 5 of them. Obviously I've only created 4, but I'm going to go with just 4 of them. And with this, I can then set a clone position. And I'm just going to go and apply it now. So for this first one, this is on the second document. I'm just going to click in the center, hold down the Alt or Option key, and you'll see this little cursor, click. And now I'm going to go to this one, and I'm going to go to the next document and click again, and now to the third one, and again, make certain I go to the next document. It's quite easy to click again. You could, of course, click on the same document, doesn't matter. But I'm just going through those, and I've created now 3 of these clone sources. Now at the moment, if I apply it, now if I go here, you can see I can apply it, and I can just quickly add, and this is what it does. The clone will just clone what was in that other document at this position. Now, you might not want it slightly jarring. It's useful for some unusual visual effects if you want to do that. But it also, you can go here and you can set the offset. So you don't want it like that. I'm going to go for 0, 0, because I want to apply it on top. I don't want to apply any jarring effect. So, just going to go back to this, and I'm going to apply an effect. Could be anything. So I'm just going to go with image, adjustments, and maybe a hue and saturation. Let's just change the colour. You go for a garish blue saturation, really something extreme so you can see it. Obviously you can apply all kinds of different colour effects, not just that one. So we go on that. Then go to this one, and in this one I'm going to go to a filter and maybe use a neural filter. I set this up earlier. It just applies one of the sort of unusual paint effects. There's lots of great neural filters. You can find that obviously in this filter menu, neural filters here, but just apply it and it will turn it into a sort of old 19th century painting look. I think that's very, very sort of unusual effect there. And also with this one, I'm going to go with maybe a blur. So filter and Gaussian blur. Any of the filters, of course, can be used. So Gaussian blur. Now I can go back to this, and now I'm going to select this one. And you can see as I draw over there, again, you get this blue effect. Again, it's jarring across, which I don't want. What I want to do is actually set that to 0 and 0 again. Does seem mind of it, set it back again, it always sets back. And now I can apply like this to this part of the, obviously, the Victoria Tower or Big Ben, obviously as everyone would always call it. So you can create a quite interesting glowing blue. Perhaps not suited to it, maybe they've decided to recolour it. Wouldn't be such a tourist spot if it was like that. Then I can also just go back here and to this other one, which is this document, and do exactly the same. And again, you can see straight away when you go over there, I want that to be 0. So make sure it's 0, should be 0. And if it does go to a different setting, I think it's always best just to quickly go over there and say, look, I really want to work with 0, 0. It seems to have, and you can then apply it again. And I'm just going to apply it on the top like that. Or you might decide, I want other parts of the image changed. So let's just apply that. And you can see as you do it, just go over like that. And again, you can just go over here and you don't have to do it loosely. Obviously, I've got a bit of a glow around there. Obviously, do it more carefully with different brushes. And you can use any brush. So you can use, I'm using a soft round. I could use hard round and just apply that. And again, you go there and just apply maybe to that part and so on. You could do all kinds of things. Now, also what you got, obviously I've got this one, was a blur. So I can go back here. Maybe I decide, you know what, I want to blur the bridge for whatever reason. So this time, I'm just going to go and select this one. And now I can blur this. And I'm just going to change brush. Don't want the hard brush, but I just wanted to show you, you can do that. And then I can just go here. And now the bridge is blurred. So you can just see, as I do that, the bridge is blurred there. And again, you can obviously do it more accurately or less, or maybe you want the sky, or maybe you want a blurred frame. You could just go around the edge, quick blurring effect applied like that, and you can create all kinds of blurring variations there. And of course, all kinds of options also are available because there's a few more things in this clone source. So let's just go for that. Got this. Go back to this one. I'm not particularly keen on the garish. Now I can always undo. Just put it back to that. Maybe go to filters and maybe use a twirl. So a twirl effect, something like that, very extreme. Well, what you can then do is you can go here and you've got this. So I'm just going to select that one. That's the one. And I can go here, not having 100%. Now alignment's completely shot then, of course. You've got 200, it's never going to align now because it's going to be bigger. But you can set it to 200. And also you could maybe go for 45. With that, you can now see, and you can see a little there, just a little brush there, which is really, so you can see the image before you start. And if you actually increase the size, let's just make, say, there, maybe not that big, 1000, you can see it. Show overlay, and you can see as you apply it like that. So you can create some very interesting visual effects because not only that, once you've done that, you can go there and say, well, I want it to be 150 and then apply it again. Or maybe go with, say, 50. So let's just go for 50. With 50, apply it again. And you can see you can build up a whole range of interesting combinations. Now you do, of course, when you go for smaller, 50%, it's going to be smaller. It's going to end up with decrease here. It's not a pattern design. Now, unfortunately, there's no pattern option. It would be brilliant if there was a pattern option, but you can see then you can create this. And with that, you can then go and maybe you think, oh, you know what? I do want the offset this time. So let's just change it, 300 and 300. And now apply it, and you can see you get that. And maybe this time 600 and 600 and apply it again. And you can see you can create all kinds of variations and locations and different stamps, near enough like the pattern stamp, where you can simply, that's why, of course, called clone stamp tool. So you can do this. You can also again modify it, put it back to 175. Now you'll notice one thing, it's linked here. So when you apply it, you get this effect like that. And you can create all kinds of unique, because at any point you can always go back to this one and go again here to filter twirl, apply it again. Make it even more extreme, then go back here and then apply it again and so on and vary the setting. But you have this as well, this link here, which is really useful for most things. But what you can do is you can say, you know what, I don't want it to be 100, I want it 175, but I want it 10%, I want it thinner. And then you can apply it and then you get this, which I think creates, and again, you just go here and shift that. And again, you can now see when you, and that's the great thing about this show overlay. So you can just see, like, just drag that across like that and apply it again. Now, I've been applying it, of course, with normal blend mode. Now, this is a bit confusing, this one. So if you go darken here and then apply, it doesn't seem to do anything there at all. very odd thing. So normal, generally I always keep that, and it just applies on top of this. Let's just, again, move the offset there. So if I just put dark, and let's just do that across, so you can see what happens. I find that actually slightly more confusing to see it. And of course it doesn't go darken. I'm not certain what that's really there, it just sort of confuses the issue, for me anyway, personally. But you can see you've got an angle, you can change the angle. You might decide, you know what, I want minus 45. So you can see now it goes the other way. So you can apply it like that. But as mentioned, with the blend modes, you can change the blend mode. So let's just go for that and maybe difference. And again, just change that setting. And you can see as you do it, you can see the overlay, so you know exactly where you're going to put it. And apply it again. And now you can see, of course, you've got the blend mode does take account its difference. I don't particularly want that, but I just wanted to show you, you can do it. And again, exactly the same. You can change the offset, go there, and maybe build that. So you can build up some interesting sort of crisscross diagonal designs, or of course up and down designs, whole range of possibilities from based on this, which of course, again, you can always go and apply some more, or maybe oil paint. So oil paint effect, make it slightly blurry, oil paint, maybe go to image and adjustments. Let's just go with maybe, again, hue and saturation, like a good old garish blue. And again, go back to it. And with that, you can see now, if I hover over there, it adds in a blue effect because it's still drawing over this bit. But again, I can then just go here and I can change this. I can move this up and down and now apply it. And I don't have to apply it over the whole thing. I can just have gaps. So you can just create all kinds of unique crisscross designs or diagonal designs, because I've gone 45, but I don't have to have it that. I could have it at 90. So 90 and then apply again, and you can see then it goes that way. Or 0. And then you can get it applying like that. So you get a cross design. I think the thing is with this clone source thing, it can be creating all kinds of visual effects. But also, of course, you've got this original image. You can go to oil paint, apply that a couple of times or twirl or whatever. And then again, on top of that, you can again go here. You've got the offset. Just move it across, move it like that. Then maybe go back here, go to image adjustments. Again, you can change the colour. You can go for maybe pink or whatever, garish green and pink. Not for everyone, I agree. And then again, you can apply it that. And you can see you can build up very rapidly all kinds of interesting combinations of designs. Now, unfortunately, it seems to hit a limit at certain points. You can't drag it over any further. But you have that all created just by a combination of these. And again, you can always at any point change and go with a different one there. Notice when you change the clone, it goes back to 100%. So again, you can always click there, make certain it's not locked. You can see it shouldn't be locked there now. So if you want to, you can put this to say 2%. I don't know if there is an actual lower limit, and then simply apply that. And you can see now you get this very thin line effect. But as mentioned, you can also change brushes. There's loads of brushes. All of these brushes can be used as well. So you can just select those, change the opacity, change blend modes, and you'll probably find, let's just go to window and brush settings. Here's brush settings. There's possibly some other options you can do. Unfortunately, the one that would be really great, color dynamics, is not available, but scattering is available. So let's just go with scattering and maybe go with scatter count and then apply that. And in this case, it doesn't appear to do anything. Sometimes, even though the tool gives you an option, it doesn't mean that it's actually going to do anything super useful in the actual settings. But it's always worth checking out because you never know. Hope you found this very quick tutorial of interest. Any thoughts about the clone brush tool, or the clone stamp tool I should call it? Be really great. There is also, actually before I go, there is also this as well, which frame offset, that does seem to, you think, probably no use whatsoever. But I think that's for another video. So I think frame offsets could have a lot of visual uses as well. Something that I'm going to be checking, let's say, in a future video. Thoughts, questions, comments, always great to hear from you. Bye.